Come, come, whoever you are, wander,
Come, whoever you are,
wander, caravan,
lover of leaving, causes no caravan, lover despair, causes no caravan, lover leaving, causes no caravan, lover despair, causes no caravan, lover leaving, causes no caravan, lover despair, causes no caravan, lover leaving, causes no caravan, lover despair, causes no caravan, lover leaving, causes no caravan, lover despair, causes no caravan, lover leaving, causes no caravan, love despair. Come yet again, come.
Jerry, you're going to ring the chimes. Wonderful. Thank you all. That was so lovely. Love getting to hear your voices in song. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the September 2020 Homecoming Water Ceremony and Symbols and Sources multi-generational service with the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury, Connecticut. It is so good to be with you this morning. Many of you will remember that in past years, we have begun this service outside, gathered around the cottage deck. Instead, this September, we look upon one another from our kitchens and our living rooms in the squares of Zoom, disjointed and physically distant from each other, but at times perhaps closer and more real with each other than we might have been in person. There is so much that we are missing during these pandemic times. These online Sunday services are our chance to try our hardest to shift our attention to focusing on the positive, the good, the steadfast, all that we still have to be grateful for in our lives and in this community. Even as we worry about more people gathering indoors in the coming months, there is so much beauty right now in the New England fall. Even as we miss seeing one another regularly and in person, what a gift that we can pick up the phone, write a note, drop off a squash or two on someone's front steps, or look upon each other and even visit each other's homes through many forms of contemporary communication and connection. I am grateful to be with you all for another September, and I cherish this annual homecoming service, when even during a global pandemic, we celebrate how a single element nourishes us all and how we all rely upon the shared resource of water that courses through everyone and everything on this earth. This congregational year, we are all entering uncharted waters. We need one another's companionship in order to keep moving forward with hope, with joy, grieving as we need to along the way, sharing our fears, our failures, and our uncertainties, and pressing onward together. At this time in our usual homecoming service, we would move together into the hall and pour our water from some source where our spirits were nourished during these summer months into our common bowl. If you gathered some such water for today, please go ahead and write in the chat where your water is from, or if you haven't yet written a place where your spirit was nourished during this strange summer, you can do so now. Remember, this is not a travel log. You don't need to have gone somewhere special or exotic, especially after a summer where so many of us were not able to travel as we might usually. It's a sharing about where your spirit truly felt restored. And for all of us, I ask each of you to have a glass of water nearby that you might drink from, reminding yourself as we continually remind one another, we are lucky to live in a place where even in a record drought year, the news of which I've been taking in this morning, how little rain we've had this year, there is still ample fresh drinking water for everyone. There is enough in this area if we can find ways to share it. Our responsibility is to tend, protect, and equally distribute this incredible and essential resource. Even with all that is going on in the world and so much that weighs on our hearts, we have so much to be grateful for. It is good and necessary to be together.
Melody, you're still muted.
Am I still muted now? Okay, folks, hold on. Sorry.
You're good now, Melody.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. My name is Melody Levy. I've been a member since 1992 of this congregation. It has been my second home, and am serving my second consecutive year as president of the Board of Trustees. I'm working for and with 6 other trustees who accepted the same challenge and invitation as I did. Welcome, members, friends, and newcomers to Homecoming. This sanctuary rests on our shoulders and in our hearts and in our minds to carry forward every Sunday and until we are together again on site, in person, at our wonderful fellowship hall. These times call for a courageous hospitality toward what is difficult and what is unknown. Our announcements this morning are in lieu of our annual after homecoming service potluck lunch at our site at UUCD at 24 Clapboard Ridge. We are encouraging those that would like in-person time to meet up with others after the service for a bring your own lunch meetup. You can find details about the different parks that people will be meeting in and one backyard in the order of service, which is attached to the email with this morning's Zoom link. Another announcement, our first town hall of this year, of this church year, will be this coming September 15th, 7 p.m. via Zoom. And we will be discussing adopting the proposed 8th principle. The board and the Racial Justice Forum look forward to your participation with this important issue. If you do have questions, please direct them to the Racial Justice Forum chair, Marian DeFabio, and you can find her email in your order of service. After our service this morning, we'll move into breakout groups to allow for deeper check-ins. And about 15 minutes after, we'll come back together as a whole group to share any highlights from our check-ins, and then we'll close our morning together. It is so lovely to be with you today.
We also want to start a practice or re-energize a practice of inviting visitors to introduce yourselves, though in this online context, we'll be inviting you to do that in the chat. So if you are newer among us, doesn't matter how many times you've joined us, but if you are newer among us, however you define that, we invite you to introduce yourselves and where you're dialing in from, if I can use that somewhat dated metaphor, in our chat box. Now let us take a minute to light our chalice or any candle and chalice-like saucer that you might have near you. And I want to say on this morning, when we're honoring symbols and sources of our Unitarian Universalist faith, that the chalice is perhaps the most simple and also the most shared symbol of our faith, light shining on even during difficult times. And then after a quiet breath, we'll say the chalice lighting words together. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life. As part of our homecoming service each year, we usually build an altar in our beloved hall with the symbols and sources of our faith and our UU Danbury congregation. This year, as much as possible, we brought the sources and symbols to members of the congregation, and we lift up throughout this whole service today the ways that you already have these Unitarian Universalist sources and symbols at your home and within your heart and mind. This congregation has a long history, and I want to thank Doug Parkhurst for his work maintaining that history. Doug, are you able to hold up the story of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Fairfield County, 1822 to 1995, which you helped to compile? See if you can see Doug on your screen there. Yay, I see him I see his box highlighted, but oh, there it is. Very good. Thank you, Doug. Copies of this marvelously detailed tome are available for your leisurely reading. You can arrange pickup outside in the bin outside the hall door of one of these from Sherry. We have lots of copies on Clapboard Ridge Road. And I've been hearing from more people lately how it can be a wonderful reprieve to the news to transform yourself to some other time period and in the past perhaps, and enjoy remembering the details and stories of that time. So I encourage you to do that. Sherry is also posting and has just posted a shorter version of UUCD's history, which includes a lovely timeline near the end of the document that she's just posted a link to in the chat. Now, in this 21st century, the UUCD building and grounds at 24 Clapboard Ridge Road continue to hold space for us and to stand for this congregation in the community. Our rainbow flag continues to fly there, and now there is a wonderful Black Lives Matter banner as well. Thanks to all who have been an ongoing part of that process and continue with that anti-racism work. The stalwart doors of the hall steadfastly await our return. And at the same time as our beautiful shared space sits empty for now, you all keep the warmth of this community going at your home places, in your backyards and on your front porches, at your kitchen tables, and through your conversations with neighbors. Our shared commitment to this congregation and to Unitarian Universalism now spreads throughout the Danbury region and beyond, as we've seen even named this morning, people dialing in from throughout the Northeast and beyond, through the light that each of you carry within you and share with others in your lives and conversations. All of these sources and symbols inspire and enrich our lifelong spiritual journeys and our ever-evolving faith. Let this day and this video montage we're about to show you renew and re-energize our collective calling and our sense that we are in this together. One disclaimer, in order for this video to be shareable, I discovered that I had to upload it in parts. So there are 3 little transitions, which Chris Creeder has made wonderfully brief. Have patience with us as I tried out something new and learned a lot in the process. Also, you may want to adjust and reduce. Be prepared to immediately reduce the volume on your device because the soundtrack starts out pretty robustly. Okay, here we go.
Elise Jaeger holds our Welcoming Our Neighbor sign, which reads, "No matter where you are from, we're glad you're our neighbor." Kelsey and Leah Hall parade with the rainbow flag, which shows the Danbury community that we are a welcoming congregation, and that we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, and their families. Bruni Edwards, chair of our membership ministry, holds the current membership book that represents this faith community. Peter Horton, UUCD board member, holds our congregational bylaws. Michelle Cousins, co-chair of our RE ministry, holds our Lego Chalice, which represents our eclectic religious education program. Judy Lacker wears our Shalom tapestry and holds the congregation's menorah in recognition of Judaism, which both precedes and infuses Christianity. And take note of her license plate. Unitarian Universalism is historically Protestant, and we celebrate our Christian background with Sierra Marie Gerfeo holding the Christian Bible, bread, and wine. These symbols remind us of our Jewish and Christian roots, which teach us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Lisa Horton holds the Earth, Sun, Moon plaque to honor the Earth-centered traditions that celebrate the sacred circle of life. Gary Mummert, along with Barb Myers and dedicated others, continue to tend the UUCD vegetable garden and keep the ever-evolving vision for the grounds growing.
You want some tomatoes? And eventually there's going to be a rain garden going in here. That'll be a expensive piece of it.
And we celebrate water from past UUCD homecoming services, symbolizing each of us as individuals, the unity of our community, and the interconnectedness of all life on this earth. After the service, this water will be given back to the earth by sprinkling it on our UUCD gardens. The words and deeds of prophetic people challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Last year, we lifted up Maya Angelou, Cesar Chavez, Dorothea Dix, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Greta Thunberg. This year, some among you thought in particular of Reverend Dr. William Barber, American Protestant minister, political activist, and co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. Maya Moore, basketball player and activist focusing on reform in the American criminal justice system. Colin Kaepernick, American civil rights activist and football quarterback. And Dorothy Day, American journalist, social activist, and Catholic Christian anarchist. Again, you have all of these sources and symbols and more in your open minds, loving hearts, helping hands, and comfortable homes. May this Unitarian Universalist faith continue to inspire, stretch, and energize you. And may you share your good energy with others in your lives and your connections.
Through song and music, we lift our hearts and nourish our collective spirits. This is a multi-generational service, so let us take this time now to sing together This Little Light of Mine, our cherished weekly way of sending our children off to their groups and classes in the before times, and now our way of acknowledging the children and youth among us, even when they are in the background and not visible on screen. Let's sing together. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. So we have called this service a multi-generational service in honor of what it's meant to this community for many years. But during this time that we're meeting remotely, families are attending all services together. We want all of our services to be an inviting experience for all ages. Today, let's recite our children's affirmation in this spirit. Please join me in cupping your hands to make the shape of two U's, and let's say our affirmation together. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands.
Good morning again. It is an honor and a privilege to install our Director of Religious Education this morning. In the Unitarian Universalist tradition, the relationship between a congregation and a religious educator is not mediated by the wider denomination, but is mutually chosen by congregation and educator. This morning, we establish a covenant between ourselves and our Director of Religious Education, Sierra Marie Jafeo. Sierra Marie began working with us in mid-March when our congregation's life, along with our own individual lives, was turned inside out due to the pandemic. We have been blessed in the past 6 months with her thoughtfulness, hard work, creativity, and deep roots in Unitarian Universalism. As we embark into this coming congregational year, Sierra Marie is continuing in her work with us to craft religious education pathways and programs for our children, our youth, and our families. This covenant is not one of law, but of the Spirit. It symbolizes a mutual commitment, an affirmation of shared trust and responsibility. Sierra Marie, will you please wave and smile so all may see you on the screen? Are you prepared to formally accept the role of Director of Religious Education for the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury?
I am.
Will you faithfully give of your compassion, wisdom, and insight, and help us to the best of our abilities as we deepen our faith, commitments, and our understanding through religious education in this community, even and especially during these tumultuous times?
I will.
I now ask that all the children and youth who are present today come forward to your screen as you are able. Sierra Marie, even in this strange context, you have gotten to know and connect with many of our congregational children, youth, and families. Do you promise to minister faithfully to them, teaching them by both word and deed the meaning and promise of our religious heritage?
I do.
To the children and the youth, because a covenant means that both sides of a new relationship makes promises, I want to ask our children and youth to make a commitment to Sierra Marie as well. Will you promise to welcome Sierra Marie as the leader of our religious education ministry? Do you propose to engage in the sacred task of learning and practicing what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist? And will you share with Sierra Marie your answers, your ideas, as well as your questions and your troubles? Please unmute yourselves, everyone, so we can enjoy in hearing one another say aloud these words of commissioning.
How do you do that? Something.
We, the members, youth, children, and families
of the Unitarian
Universalist Congregation of Danbury, hereby
commission you,
Sierra
Marie
Sam,
As
our Director of Religious Education,
covenant to engage with you,
with you,
learning, practicing
now faith,
and pledge to partner with you in the life of multi-generational education and liberal religious movement.
share with
Share with you our
questions and
and our insights
and our gratitude, our good energy, and our full support.
Inspiration and our sorrows, our trust and our gratitude, our good energy and our full support.
Brilliant melody.
because that
Must sound like a round.
I know. We were all around there.
Just a moment.
Mindful of its privileges and its responsibilities, I joyfully accept this ministry among the children, youth, and families of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. I commit to continuing the sacred tasks of teaching, learning, listening, connecting, collaborating, and relationship building. I covenant to educate toward wholeness and liberation. With respect for each of your gifts, growing edges, and dedication, I pledge to promote religious engagement and understanding, and to conspire with the spirit of love to advance compassion and justice. I covenant to call forth the powers of my soul and pledge to move among and with you in openness of spirit as I share in this critical ministry. I promise to lead your religious education for children and youth, your family ministries, to the best of my ability, to work in collegial trust with your minister, staff, lay leaders, and to assist in the expansion of our wider ministry.
I invite all of you now listening and supporting and cheering on this crucial ministry of our congregation to share your notes to Sierra Marie of encouragement and gratitude in the chat as you are able. If you're more comfortable sending an email or a note in the mail, please do that. I know I speak on behalf of all of us at UUCD when I say to you, Sierra Marie, thank you. You have jumped into your role with this congregation during a completely unprecedented time, and we are deeply grateful for all your wisdom and care among us. And now for our story for all ages this morning. For me, this story has surprised me with its many gentle lessons, and it extends directly from our celebration of our ministry to families, because there is so much wisdom in all ages of our lives and stages. One among these lessons is about how marvelous and necessary it is to have others in our lives who help us to try new things and venture together into uncharted waters. How very essential it is in our life journeys to have those who coax us along when we are feeling scared. And how once we learn the way to some place or something new, we can turn right around and share what we've learned with someone else, no matter if we are 3 years old or 93 years old. All our lives, we keep facing new challenges, trying new things, needing some support along our way, and then sharing our learnings and discoveries with someone else. All our paths intersect with others along our way. This is Up the Mountain Path by Marianne DeBuc. I am just going to take a quick second because the way Zoom works, there we go. I can't see it unless I do a little adjustment here. All right, here we go. Now I know you can see what I can see. And you can, yes. All right. Ms. Badger is very old. She's seen many things. Some can be found in her kitchen, like that pottery shard, sand from the sea, and a finch nest. Her house is at the foot of a small mountain. Every Sunday, she walks the path from her garden to the mountain's peak. It's her Sunday ritual. And you can see there are multiple different paths she can take. This Sunday is a Sunday like any other, maybe a little sunnier. Frederick the bird says, "The mountain again, Ms. Badger?" "Hello, Frederick." Frederick is a white-throated sparrow who lives in Ms. Badger's garden. On her way up the mountain, Ms. Badger picks mushrooms for her friend Alexander. She will bring them to him later. He will be delighted. Ms. Badger knows all about mushrooms. Sometimes Ms. Badger finds a friend in need. She helps the best she can and continues on her way. Every Sunday is the same. But today she has a feeling she is being watched. "There's enough for both of us if you're hungry," she says to the little observer. Ms. Badger shares everything, even her snack. "Is it true," the little friend asks, "that you have climbed to the top of the mountain?" "Yes, it's called Sugarloaf Peak," Ms. Badger says. "I'd like to go up there too." "You'll see, it's wonderful." "You look worried, little one." Ms. Badger can tell when something is wrong. "I'm too small." For Ms. Badger, nothing is impossible. "I was your age when I climbed the mountain for the first time." But sometimes it's hard to have faith. And so Ms. Badger continues on her own. "Heading to Sugarloaf Peak, Ms. Badger," says the squirrel. "Good morning, Doris." The little one sits there on the log and thinks about it. "I'd really like to see what's up there." Ms. Badger understands. "With the right walking stick, it's easier." "What's your name?" Lulu, says the little one, and they pick out and discuss the perfect stick. On this sunlit Sunday, Ms. Badger now has a companion on the trail. Careful, it's slippery, she says. Lulu asks, why do trees have leaves? To greet the sun. Where are the ants going? Where the road leads them? Lulu asks a lot of questions. Look what I found. Can I eat it? That's Susie. Ms. Badger teaches Lulu to listen instead. Tootie too, toodaloo, 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 doo. That's Frederick. It's pretty. Mama! Ms. Badger also teaches Lulu how to help. Here's your little one, Ms. Bird. Thank you. Mama! Lulu is a quick learner. On the way, choices have to be made. Which path do we take? Which one do you like best? Ms. Badger knows that life is made up of decisions. I'd like to go this way. It smells like apples. And that you have to listen to your heart. What will we see up there? The world. It must be incredible to be at the top of the world. Oh, it makes you feel really small. Small as a hummingbird? Smaller. Small as an ant? Smaller. Small as what? Small as a speck of stardust shimmering on the morning dew. Ms. Badger knows how to raise the morale of the troops. The ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah. Are you all right, little one? Sometimes songs are not enough. I have somewhere to show you. The troops, especially those with small feet, are exhausted. So Lulu and Ms. Badger stop for a little while to catch their breath. After a short rest, their energy returns. Shall we continue? It isn't much farther. It is a sunny Sunday, and soon they will reach the top. Careful, the path is steep here. Almost there, Ms. Badger. Oh, hello, Will. Will is a turkey vulture. He lives on Sugarloaf Peak and has known Ms. Badger for a long time. The final stretch is the most difficult. You can do it, Lulu. It's very high. Here we are. Humph. Isn't it wonderful? Lulu doesn't say a word. She's on top of the world. From then on, every Sunday, they climb to Sugarloaf Peak together. Sugarloaf again, Lulu? Good morning, Frederick. Nice to meet you, Ms. Turtle. Ms. Badger shares with Lulu all the secrets of the mountain. These past few weeks, it's been Ms. Badger's turn to need a rest. Are you okay? Lulu asks. Lulu takes a moment to stop for her. But whatever happens, they always reach the top of the mountain. Do you think Will is going to be there? He said he would be. Careful, it's slippery. We're almost there. It's wonderful. Then one sunny Sunday, Ms. Badger doesn't have the strength to climb to Sugarloaf Peak. Go by yourself, she says. When you return, you can tell me everything. So Lulu follows the mountain path the same as every Sunday, but not quite. She's on her own on the path. Week after week, Lulu explores the mountain and its secrets. When she returns, she tells Ms. Badger all about her discoveries. She also brings new treasures. Gradually, Ms. Badger's mountain becomes Lulu's mountain. One day, at a fork in the road, Lulu discovers a path she had never noticed before. It smells like raspberries. There's enough for two, you know, she says, because she feels someone watching her. And then she says to her new friend, I have a wonderful place to show you. Michael Stengel will now invite our morning offering.
It is now time for our congregational offering. If you're with us for the first time, feel free to pass the virtual plate. Your presence here in the Zoom room is your gift to us. Members, please click the link on your screen to make a donation or pledge, for even though we are not in our beloved fellowship hall, our operating expenses are still the same. You may also mail a check to UUCD at 24 Clappard Ridge Road in Danbury. Thank you for doing your part to support and sustain this community we love. Now please join me in our congregational response. In the spirit of compassion and service, we dedicate these, our offerings.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river in my soul. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river in my soul. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Sometimes shorter is truly sweeter, and I am mindful of all that we are attempting to hold during this service today, so I will keep these additional thoughts very brief. I've been continually finding that the seeming simplicity of children's books helps to cut through the cacophony of all the other news and clamor these days. I picked up the book Up the Mountain Path at the library just a few weeks ago when I got to go inside the building and browse for the first time in 6 months. I think my 8-year-old and I, we were the first indoor visitors that had scheduled an appointment that first morning, so we were very psyched. I read this book to our 3-year-old at a few bedtimes. And then over Labor Day weekend, when we went for our one little camping trip of this strange summer, I was delightfully surprised when Braden brought up the story as we tried to coax her along on a hike. It was a 3-mile hike round trip up a hill, and she did very well, but she did get tired, and she said, "Let's stop and rest," she said, as her little legs were getting tired. "We need a song," and she helped us think of a song. "We need a little snack. And look at our perfect walking sticks, mamas." That's when I knew she was remembering the book, because she was telling me how it needed to have a little notch, like in the book with Mrs. Badger. With these little encouragements, we made our way. We are each and all trying to make our way up the mountain path this year. I have heard some friends and colleagues share that they approach this fall with an ominous feeling of dread, with the coronavirus pandemic continuing and all the concerns about being indoors and a very significant election. Myself, it is often in the early mornings when I feel the most bleak about things, when it feels challenging to hoist myself up and get about the business of getting our family ready for the day, and myself focused on whatever most needs to be done. It gets me thinking about what are all the ways that at all ages of our lives we try and learn crucial strategies to coax ourselves and one another along. What are the ways we learn to coax ourselves and one another along? Little Lulu isn't so sure she can make it up the mountain. Sometimes it's hard to have faith, Ms. Badger knows. She teaches Lulu to listen instead of asking quite so many questions. On the way, choices have to be made. Ms. Badger knows that life is made up of such decisions and that you have to pause and listen to your heart. One day, Ms. Badger senses someone watching her. There's enough for both of us, she says. She shares everything, even her snack. There's enough for all of us. And each of us can show someone else the ways we've found to keep on keeping on. Pausing and counting our blessings is definitely one way to recenter ourselves. I still think about the walk I went on last November, our last morning in northeastern India, in the densely occupied but also somewhat rural hills of Shillong, and seeing people of all ages from all over the neighborhood carrying water containers to public spigots, gathering in small groups and filling up at spouts, and then lugging water back to their homes to start their day. This was their morning ritual, reminding me that water is truly a universal essential and also something that in my Western home I can too easily take for granted. A good friend of mine who lives in Medford, Oregon, shared with me on Facebook in the past few days that due to the intense fires along the West Coast, she and her partner did have to evacuate. She wrote, "My landlady's house burned and a few other people I know, and we evacuated in a rush. Coming home after 2 days, I felt so happy to be doing the dishes we had left behind and organizing the items I had hastily thrown together, rather than sifting through ash and twisted rubble as many people are now doing." Water forms our tears too, even and especially when we give ourselves a chance to sit and be with the feelings of all that we've lost during the pandemic, disappointments large and small, and none trivial. Please don't tell yourself that your losses and disappointments aren't real just because they seem like luxurious concerns compared to the stories you might read in the news. All our feelings need to be honored in order to keep on being our full-hearted selves during these dramatically altered months. Consultant, coach, and spiritual director Susan Beaumont writes, "Liminal seasons, times when we are in between one reality and another, require us to build the bridge as we walk on it, to build our way over the uncharted waters as we are walking forward." We are all moving into these uncharted waters these days in one aspect or another of our multi-layered lives. Be gentle with yourselves and one another. Let yourself notice and honor all the feelings that arise in you. Journal, write letters, pick up the phone, organize photographs of happier times, sit on an outside step and be grateful for the fresh air. Do what lifts your spirit in healthy ways, and then notice and share with others what is working for you. We will get through these coming months, these uncharted waters, by encouraging and coaxing ourselves and each other along with creativity, playfulness, the retelling of good stories, being truly honest with ourselves and each other about what we're feeling, and finding joy and gratitude in daily moments. And now let us share in an online version of our water ceremony.
Yeah, so a new ceremony for some different times. We've each brought a glass of drinkable water to this service. I invite you to wrap your fingers around this glass now, or take it in your hands if you want. Feel how warm or cool the glass is, and feel the weight of it. There are many forms of water. There are the waters of hurricanes and the waters of still ponds. There are familiar waters and uncharted waters. And there are the waters like this one that we drink. Water in this form is a bringer of life. It is nourishment as we travel up the mountain path. What forms of nourishment will we bring to one another in this community as we navigate this year together? Our litany of blessing for water this morning is adapted from Community Minister Reverend Renwa Himami. Each time I raise my glass like this, together let's say the words, "This water is sacred," and then take a sip like a virtual toast. If you cannot or do not want to sip your water, just find another way to connect with its nourishment. Please join with me now. This water is sacred. It is made sacred by the hands that have filled this cup, and the hands that hold this cup now with intention and with love. By the many stories carried by its drops through space and time, and by the people who have gathered here to be nourished by many waters together, connected by commitment and faith. This water is sacred. May its flow through this community offer shining reflections of the unique gifts that flow through each of its members. May it continue to nurture this community with sustaining hope that we journey together through ripples of change and growth. This water is sacred. May it continue to bless this community with loving reminders of collective responsibility to one another and to the world. As we notice its taste and the way that it feels, to let it nourish our bodies, may it be a reminder that the changes and growth within this community can also bring nourishment and transformation to the world beyond our doors. This water is sacred. May its purity offer grace to our community and the willingness to forgive ourselves and one another when we make mistakes. In moments when we are confused or uncertain, may this simple act of taking a pause and drinking a bit of water bring us clarity of purpose and fresh commitment. This water is sacred. In moments when the reservoirs of hearts and spirits are drained by sorrow or pain, may it nourish them with the knowledge that we are surrounded and held by a deep and abundant love. This water is sacred. Amen.
Join us now in sharing together a few precious moments of quiet, listening silence, and as much stillness as we can collectively conjure up in our bodies, hearts, and minds. Let us be for one another the still pond that we all need and can rest beside for this brief time.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Now is the time for us to extinguish our chalices. Please join me with the words of extinguishment. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again. Our closing hymn today is number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the earth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, How can I keep from singing?
I just tried moving my screen so I could see more of you better, and that mixed me all up in that transition. Technology, no matter how smooth we think we've gotten it. And I want to acknowledge when people were posting comments in the chat, I became very aware that we didn't have a clear shared milestones time in this service today. So as I'm talking now, or when Michael's giving a little bit more instruction for the breakout groups, if there's something you want to make sure to share, please go ahead and do that. That is certainly a customary time of our services, and I know a time that we've all come to really appreciate. So that will be back next week for sure. There has been so much for us to hold and celebrate and affirm and consider together today. Thank you for co-creating this time once again for one another. May you go forth into your afternoons and the week ahead replenished, renewed, and reminded we are journeying up this mountain path together. Someone is just around the bend ahead of you, looking forward to greeting you. Someone is just behind you, looking forward to your coaxing them along. We rely upon one another, and we will get there, forward through these uncharted waters, hand in hand. May it be so.
We'll now move into our post-service breakout groups. The primary purpose of the breakout groups is to allow for a deeper check-in with each other. If there is someone in your breakout group who you don't know, please use this opportunity to get to know each other better. There is or will be a slide posted with notes about the groups in case you'd like to have a prompt to stimulate your conversation. Check in with one another and enjoy the magic of ending up in a group with 4 to 6 people you might not talk with otherwise. After about 15 minutes, we'll come back together as a whole group by 11:25 a.m. today to share any highlights from your check-ins and then close our morning together around 11:30 a.m. For those of you who are able and in the greater Danbury area, there are then the Bring Your Own Picnic gatherings happening in 4 local parks and 1 backyard near you at 12:15 p.m. You can find the details in the order of service attached to the email with this morning's service Zoom link. Enjoy all